Stop the insanity. Get your focus back onto what really matters in life. Your faith, your family, your finances, and your future. Sit back, listen, and change the trajectory of your life. You are listening to the Money for Life podcast. Let's welcome your hosts, Teresa Kuhn and Rick Sapio.
Welcome, everyone, to Money for Life. I am Teresa Kuhn with my partner, Rick Sapio. And today we're going to talk about eliminate, delegate, and automate. And I'm going to turn it over to Rick because he's been saying these, 6 words for a very long time. But first, I want to read a quote that I think is so profound. So simple, yet so profound. And that quote reads, "The ability to simplify means to eliminate the unnecessary so that the necessary can speak." Wow, I love that quote. And it's so simple, yet so profound, Rick. So eliminate the unnecessary so that the necessary can speak. That, in just a few words, says exactly what you've been talking about forever, about simplifying your life and minimizing your life, Rick. What does that speak to you?
Love the title of the podcast, Eliminate It, Delegate It, Automate It. We crowd our lives with so much crap. And I think the reason we crowd our lives with so much crap and the reason why, as Americans, we are addicted to yes, I believe there's a root cause. The reason is I don't believe that we trust the universe. We don't believe that if we say no to a new relationship or no to a new business opportunity or no to a text or Facebook post or video that someone sends you, I believe that we think that we're missing out. And fear of missing out, FOMO, F-O-M-O, fear of missing out, is driving us insane. And all the depression, anxiety, suicide, and all that crap going on in America. So we want to give you an anecdote to that. Eliminate it, delegate it, automate it. I believe my word, when I was a young kid, I don't know where it came from. It's probably baked into my DNA and it's baked into your DNA. You have a word that you represent that is your value. And for me, it's simplifier. I am a simplifier. I mentioned this on a previous podcast. My 12-year-old son, in talking about this topic, he said, I have a word. I'm a perseverer. Perseverer, he said. And the other kids got involved too. We have a primary value, all of us. But my primary value being simplifier means that I can teach you and show you a way to radically improve your life. And one of them is this exercise that Teresa and I have been doing for a long time, which is whenever something enters our field of vision, the first thing we have to say to ourselves is, how do I eliminate this nonsense? How do I just not have to deal with it again? The next thing we say is, who can I delegate it to? And there's a famous story, Bill Gates, when he was very young, when he started Microsoft, he said, I wrote down everything I did as I was doing it each day. And at the end of the day, I thought, who can I delegate it to so that when I'm done over months and months, the only thing I'm focused on inside Microsoft is strategy. So eliminate it, delegate, and the last thing is automate it. You know, I use this as an example a lot, but my wife and I have automated our date night. It's Monday night at 7:30. Most couples either never go on dates, or they don't have time to plan it, or they can't find a babysitter, or it's too much of a hassle, or the kids don't want them to leave. Automate it. You can automate your calendar. You can automate with your trainer. You never have to confirm, I'm always going to be here at this time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So these are powerful things. Now, Teresa, I know you have an immense amount on your plate, including this podcast with me. So what have we done as it relates to producing this podcast to demonstrate, eliminate, delegate it, and automate it?
Well, to start, we've got a process. We have a checklist. We have a team that produces on the back end. You and I meet at the same exact time every single week. It's a sacred time. Sometimes we start a little late. Sometimes we finish a little late, but it's a rhythm. And you and I have been working with a rhythm for almost a decade. We don't call each other up and say, hey, I got a great idea. We put it on a parking lot, and when we meet on a weekly basis, we discuss what's on the parking lot. It makes life a lot simpler. And, we're living in just such amazing times today. So much technology can make our life simpler? I know you talk about technology and how it interferes with life, but why don't we take technology and use it in a great way, like automating things, like AI. I've been pitched a bazillion times in the last year on different ways that I can automate my business. I'm meeting with someone next week who's got a new software to integrate with our contact management system to automate the back end to let my team focus on other things. And so whenever somebody pitches me or tells me about a new idea to automate part of my life or my business, my ears perk up. I'm very, very interested because I want to simplify my life, my team's life as much as possible so we can focus on the necessary, so we can focus on the connection, on the communication, on serving more people, on impacting more people. And the only way we can do that is by eliminating, delegating, and automating.
All right, everyone. And now this is a message from our sponsor, the 100-Year Savings Solution. Teresa and I do these podcasts because we are very committed to you having wealth in your life. And that wealth is long-term wealth. And how do you get wealth? You get wealth by employing the barbell investment strategy, in which you focus on creating a foundation of wealth using specially designed whole life insurance from a mutually owned insurance company. And you're going to get higher returns with far less risk. I call it risk-free, but it's far less risk than you can get anywhere else in the world. And once you have that financial foundation set up, the rest of your wealth creation is almost automatic. Go to www.100yearsavings.com. To go back to the Bill Gates example, living, breathing example of it, you delegate a lot of stuff. And I want you to talk about your personal life in a moment, how you delegate there. But you think about what Bill Gates said, every single thing he did on a daily basis. Think about this for you in your personal life. There is so many things that you're doing on a daily basis that is a complete and total waste of time. It's funny. It would drive me bonkers when we ran out of a toiletry at home. And I'm like, honey, let's just do this in 1 minute. Go on Amazon, have an automatic delivery date that happens every month at the same time for our toiletries. So we never run out of toilet paper, paper towels, toothpaste, etc. And we did that once a few years ago and we never did it again. Instead of, oh, damn, I got to go get toilet paper or paper towels. So that's an example of that. So with Bill Gates, he knew that the most important value that he could provide to Microsoft was on strategy. So he realized that that value is worth billions of dollars. So it behooved him and the shareholders to get him to the point where he wasn't doing anything but strategy. What is that thing in your life that is most valuable that you contribute to the world or you contribute to your family? And once you have that value, the quote that we said at the beginning starts to express itself. The ability to simplify means to eliminate the unnecessary so that the necessary can speak. Until you eliminate this crap from your life, all the stuff that's driving everybody nuts, until you do that, then your purpose and your values will not express themselves. And one of the things that I decided personally to eliminate, delegate, or automate is medicine. I've decided on many levels to take my health into my own hands. When I hit 50, I had all kinds of medical issues. So I found myself going to doctors often and go to this specialist or that specialist. And my trainer said, just lose 30 pounds. And your health will improve because you're eating a lot less. You won't have as many health issues. And lo and behold, it was amazing. I took my health in a direction where I eliminated a lot of unnecessary doctor visits. I eliminated a lot of unnecessary pharmacy visits. I automated a lot of things, including my trainer workouts and how I eat now. So you could put this in many different verticals in your life. Teresa, you are an expert at this. And in your personal life, when it comes to food and all of the different people that you have around you to handle tasks for you, can you dig into that a little bit?
Sure. So I realized a long time ago, and you've hung out with me and you probably roll your eyes when you hang out with me and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe she can't find her way out of a paper bag. And I literally have no sense of direction. And I'm a quirky person. I've got quirks like that. And if you hang out with me, you probably notice that I'm really, really brilliant at a couple things and not so brilliant at a lot of things. And I just delegate what I'm not good at. It used to bog me down and it used to wear me down. And I remember the chatter in my mind when I tried to do something and I just wasn't good at it and I felt dumb. And I just started delegating it. And boy, did my life become easier? Did my life become lighter in that regard? And there's stuff that I delegate that I might be good at, but I have no interest in doing. I've got people who allow me to focus on what I love to do. I love to do this podcast. I love to serve on my clients. I love to help people when it comes to financial services. We have a family business. I love thinking about strategy with a family business. My husband, my son are in the weeds. They're in the details. I am constantly pushing them to the next level, to the next level, to the next level. That takes thinking. That takes research. That takes connecting with other people. I wouldn't have time to do that if I was in the weeds, if I wasn't delegating. The stuff that we talk about with Money for Life, the conversations, the connections, the ideas, that comes from having some downtime, some thinking time. Well, you can't have thinking time if you're constantly doing. And does it cost money to have a team and to delegate? Absolutely it does. But if you think about your strength and how you can leverage your strength to create more wealth, then you'll be able to support and really pay for your team.
It's interesting, Teresa, that you bring this up, because the whole reason that we moved our careers in the direction of the 100-year savings solution was because of this way of thinking: eliminated, delegated, automated. The 100-year savings solution is a way to put those three things on the ground with your wealth creation over the next 30 years. You don't have to go through all the hassle and nonsense that people have to go through when it comes to creating wealth. I have a friend of mine, he started an options trading strategy recently, and he's spending 20 hours a week on it, and he has a family. And I said, how you been doing since you paid for this coach and you're working with them a few hours a week and you're trading and all that? He goes, well, it's been a wonky market. I've lost $100,000. I'm like, it would be a whole lot easier if you employed the barbell strategy and the 100-year savings solution, which are linked in our book, The 100-Year Savings Solution. And it was all designed to happen automatically.
Rick, people complicate their life so much. And I don't know about your friend. I don't know if he's ever going to be successful. And I don't know the rest of his story, right? But you know how long it takes to master something. It takes thousands of hours. How is that working on his strength, right? How is that eliminating the unnecessary? How is that automating? Very few strategies are automated. Can he delegate that? Can he find somebody who can invest for him if that's a strategy that he wants to invest money in? We are creatures of complexity. Our default is complexity. We seek the interesting, or what appears to be interesting, and we seek fortune in unlikely and unnecessary places. Have you ever met somebody who just has a brilliant energy that just is grounded in his confidence and what he does, and he just doesn't care what anybody else thinks, and he just loves this one thing or two thing that he's so good at? Nelson Nash was one of those guys. He didn't complicate his life with unnecessary things. He was a simple man. He loved talking about the 100-year savings solution. He called it something different. He read about it. He wrote about it. He spoke about it all the time. That man was brilliant. He had a brilliant energy to him, and he had a very simple but impactful life. And he has impacted the life of millions of people. And you know what his legacy is? He died last year. He's still impacting people today, and he will be for decades to come.
Leonardo da Vinci called this the elegance of simplicity, or the sophistication of simplicity. There's a sophistication that comes from knowing what your purpose is, knowing what your values are, knowing why you're here on the planet, and knowing what you're up to. And everything else doesn't matter. It doesn't take that space up. And we're attracted to people like that because their energy actually fulfills their destiny in a sense. I love the quote, if you want something bad enough, the universe will conspire to bring it to you. Well, if you want something bad enough, you should focus on that. And instead, the first thing we do in the morning, we can't even see yet, we reach for that damn cell phone. It's why I leave mine in the car. Mine does not come in the house. And people have challenged me on that. Where's your cell phone? I'm like, it's in the car. Go look. And God forbid you part ways with that thing that in many cases is more important than your child. And I say that because our relationship to our children corresponds to how much time we spend with them. Time meaning time eyeball to eyeball, looking at them, talking to them. And now we know the research shows that the average parent in America spends less than 30 seconds per day in eyeball to eyeball, one-on-one communication with their children. I'm not talking about yelling at them. I'm not talking about them sitting in the back of the car and you barking at them. I'm not talking about times where you're with several kids and you're not giving them one-on-one attention. I'm talking about eyeball to eyeball, sitting across from them like you would at a one-on-one dinner and just having a damn conversation. So what's at stake, folks? What's at stake is our happiness and fulfillment. You know, I like the word fulfillment far more than happiness, but people understand happiness for whatever reason. I think happiness is too fleeting. But what's at stake is the key relationships in our lives, like our family members and best friends, our business and the results there, our financial well-being. That's at stake. Why? Because we're not willing to eliminate stuff that's not working for us from our lives. And Teresa and I are really passionate about this topic. So I'm going to summarize. I'm going to turn it back to you. Everything that happens to you on a daily basis, I think you should put through the lens of how can I eliminate this? How can I delegate this to somebody else? And how can I automate it so I don't have to touch it again? And if you do that, what happens is you'll get a lot more free time. And it reminds me every single time I go to Italy, I've been there about 50 times, I get into this conversation with somebody and they'll say, I just don't understand Americans. They pack their days. Nothing will ever interrupt my 3 times a day coffee habit. Where I go to the cafe, I talk to strangers, I talk to my friends, I have nothing in my pockets, nothing in my hands. I'm just there to connect with humanity. And that's more important to me than filling my day with nonsense, which is what Americans do. Italians have a very unique perspective on life, and I've learned a lot from watching them.
Well, Rick, our listeners have learned a lot from you and from our podcast. I'm really honored and privileged that you and I connected, and you've taught me a lot about simplicity. It is a value that you talk about all the time. I notice when you start getting flustered, when things get a little complexified around you, and I'm very privileged that I get to witness you and your commitment to simplicity. And with that, we're going to sign off today for Money for Life. We hope that you got some really good information and put these practices into place. It's not just about the information and accumulating information and knowledge and hearing an interesting conversation. It's about actually doing something that can impact and change not only your life, but the life of those around you. Until next time.
You have just experienced Money for Life. Implement these strategies today and create a life by design. Have a blessed day.